Welcome to create your own profitable event, virtual or in person. I'm Kearn, speaker, coach, #1 best-selling author, entrepreneur for over 23 years, and I've been in the healthcare field for over 30 plus years. I also have been planning events for 15 plus of those years as well. So years ago, I started planning events, but a few years back, I was sitting and working with my branding coach, and we were talking about what the women in the community needed. And what they were all talking about is the need for a woman's conference. Yes, we had events, plenty of events to attend, many networking events, women organization events, chamber events. Many of those events were all great, but we were all looking for something more, something to develop even further. And most of us would have to travel to another state or country in order to get the information that we needed. So we're sitting and talking, and we just decided, we looked at each other and was like, why don't we why don't we do it? What are we waiting on? So myself, as I said before, had already been planning events for many years. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we did. 6 years ago, we started out planning what you now know as the Success Women's Conference. In about 6 to 9 months, we had over 540 women in attendance at our first event. A few years back, we elevated up to over 1,000 plus women in attendance. Last year, having over 25 states represented as well, and over 100 plus speakers. And now we're virtual and international. So today I want to talk to you about creating the same experience and how to be profitable in creating your own event. 5 of the things that I go over when I'm teaching people on how to create your profitable event. 1 is making a plan. That's #1. You always have to have a plan. And we're going to dive deeper in that today. #2, you got to build the team, the right team. And sometimes that takes a little tweaking, but you definitely have to have people at the table that are going to help you realize your vision. You got to have some creative people at the table. You got to have your financial people, your people that help keep you organized, administrative people, volunteer coordinators, and people like that. The list goes on and on. But, and I'm not saying that all these people are paid. Most of them are not paid. But of course, you want to make sure that you have a plan for the ones that you do need to have in a paid position. #3, creating multiple streams of event income. Now, in the past, most of us that are creating events have relied heavily on sponsorships, corporate sponsors that are looking to have their name branded with your name. And of course, that will continue, but some of us have already experienced the fact that it's not what it used to be, at least not right now. There are many companies that have diverted their income due to the time and situation that we're in, and some have just postponed it altogether. So you want to be really creative when planning an event, whether it's in person, and we all know that some people are already having in-person events. Some of us are having just virtual, and some of us are doing hybrid events. That means both. And so that being said, you definitely want to look at how you're going to create an income that's not going to just sustain your event, but make you a profit at the end of the day. Remember, I said profitable event. We're not into having big parties. Nobody enjoys planning an event. Everybody else leaves full and your pocket leaves empty. So you definitely want to have multiple streams of income. I normally teach several different strategies and introduce many different ways to have a profitable event. So definitely go over that. That's really key. Finance is always key. Creating a budget and all those things are key. And those are things, just some of the things we'll break down. I always say ticket sales should not be your number one way to make profit. If it is, we definitely need to talk. Number 4, selecting the right speaker. Now, we all know you need a fabulous keynote, but that should not be the only speaker that you're focused on, or entertainer, whoever your top person is, or whatever it is. You need to have a strategy behind selecting speakers. Speakers are essential to the bottom line. They will impact your bottom line at the end of the day. And yes, there are many strategies that I use. They don't call me the butts in the seat queen for nothing. That's because I have a strategy always when selecting and looking at speakers. And I'm telling you now, if you're a speaker, you want to know some of those strategies, because I am definitely one and the main person that selects for conferences. I know I've been doing this for years, and it's a strategy that you need to make sure you tap into. So in addition to that, number 5 is promoting the event, conference, whatever it is, festival. It is key that you promote. And it is not only posting a flyer. And for those of you that need to hear this, hiring somebody to create your graphics is really critical. So, and I always say that because people think you can just put a flyer out there. You need to make sure that you get somebody who's a pro that can help you get that right look, because it really does matter. It sends a message whether your event is worth attending, sometimes just by the flyer you produce. So, promoting your event, there are definitely many strategies when promoting your event. You definitely want to employ several of the strategies that I use. And yes, I do. Once again, I do teach that in my How to Create Your Profitable Event. Promoting is essential. You want to make sure you have a high visibility. We have all eyes on the digital screen right now. So what better time to use that format? But there are keys to doing that. Again, it's not just putting a flyer out. You want to do a lot more than that. So we're going to go over and focus on, with the time that we have, on making a plan for your event. Making a plan for your event. Now, I am the type of person who has, in previous years ago, jumped feet first into producing an event, planning an event. And this is something that you don't want to do. Take it from me. I've been doing it for years. And even with the first year's success, feet first, plan second. So conversion to more profit, plan, have goals, be on a mission with those as well. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk about what should be in the first steps of creating a profitable event. So 1, Know your vision. Create your vision. Write it down and make sure that people are buying into your vision. You don't want to just put something out there nobody cares about. You're going to need a support team that believes in your vision. So write down your vision. Make sure that it makes sense, right? And then that vision is going to lead to your mission. One thing about success, we knew right off the bat what our vision was and why. What was our why? Well, as I told you before, women had talked about a need for an event for over 10 plus years. So we knew that women needed to be inspired and empowered here. And they also needed, due to their workload and how women take on so much, many of them needed to be recharged. Some of them were transitioning, and so they needed that. And then, of course, my favorite, because I'm a connector and collaborator, they needed to connect. And I wanted to create that opportunity to place inside of my little hometown ability for women to connect with women, other women around the world. So that being said, you want to make sure that you also have people know your mission. And inside of that mission, do people really want to buy into what you're selling, right? So you have to have a mission, and you have to make sure that your mission has a purpose and that people are interested in that mission and purpose, right? You have to write those down. You have to set goals, and you have to project in the future. So you need to make sure, as I said before, your vision, your mission, those are the first two things that you want to do. Then number 3, the date. If the current situation, being as it is, COVID, hasn't taught us anything, is that dates really do matter. Dates really do matter. I have planned during this time 3 or 4 virtual events, but I had to make a lot of alteration because of the time that we're in. You have to choose the date, and sometimes the date can be changed, unfortunately, due to the situation or the current atmosphere. So what do you do when you're choosing a date? You want to use the standard thing, whether in person or not, whether virtually or in person. You should do some of the same standard things. You want to go and find out what's going on. Check with your tourism. If you're going to have it in another state or another area, check their tourism. Check what's happening around you regionally. Also, you want to make sure with that date that there aren't other big things going on. Whether it's a festival, another conference, other events, could be something political, that could impact your date. Go on Eventbrite, check those events. Go on Facebook and check Facebook events. Go to the chamber sites and see what the chamber has. Look at other women organizations and groups. If any of these are having similar events, or they're having events that are big, that are drawing people away, it's going to affect your bottom line. And at the end of the day, we're not trying to have a big party. We're trying to create a profitable event. So your date is essential, and you must do your research to make sure that it's not impacted by any of those things. And also, don't forget, holidays, depending on when it is and what type, may impact your event, especially if it's in person. But with virtual, it also will affect it, especially if you're looking at Christmas or Thanksgiving, some of the ones that people really like to travel for. So always think about that. Those are essential to making the right decision. So the other thing when you're deciding on, when part of making your plan, is that you want to make sure to check the location, right? Location, location, location. So I'm going to talk about it from the virtual and the in-person aspect. When you are doing in person, you're looking at where that facility that is located, what the facility looks like. Yes, it does matter. If a person is driving up to a dump, they're going to keep driving. Trust me. Is it near an airport? If you're expecting people to fly in, you want to make sure it's not too far away. Or is there transportation that has a routine of bringing people into the facility? But trust me, if it's too far, it is going to make an impact on your event. The other thing is, how much is that ticket if I'm coming in? So you want to look at that as well. And that's going to be impacted by many things, whether there are holidays coming up or just happen or whatever. It will impact your ticket sale. So you want to look at that as well. So in addition to location, can I get there back and forth? Is it central and easy to get to? If I got to take off and only do a half a day, I don't want to spend an hour driving to the location unless I've already planned that out. If I'm driving and spending part of the day, you got a time. If it's going to take me 30 minutes to get there and 30 minutes to get back, that's a whole hour that those people are losing. So at least for where I'm at, I always tell people, make sure it's centered well so that you can get people from the east and the west, depending on where you're at. And of course, now I can't get people from the south because I'm right here on the water. But for people that are in a more centered area, they may have people coming from the northeast, the south, and the west. So make sure to look where you're at. These are important as far as people traveling. Is there good transportation? Do you have Uber and some of these other things? You need to look at that when you're picking your location. Now, from the virtual side, do you want to do a Zoom? Do you want to do you want to also use StreamYard? Do you want to use Facebook Live? What type of event are you having? And if you're like me, if you've been watching some of the things that I have done, Level Up Your Visibility, Power Up Summit, Success Women's Conference, if you've been paying attention, we build out. So we build a broadcast page. Total different feel, total different look at a bigger level. And if you want something like that, you should be contacting me because this is what we do. And it's at a different level. I can do Zoom in my sleep, but when it comes to a broadcast page, you need to make sure that you have the professionals around you, which is what I do and other people, part of our team. So location does matter, whether it's virtual or in person. Choosing your location is essential. Now, in location is also next up, logistics. You definitely want to manage that part. Why is that important? We're talking about creating a profitable event. So all these things are going to impact your bottom line. When you're looking at a location in person, you're going to look at how much things cost. If you can go to that location and walk in and it's decorative and it's naturally beautiful, the wallpaper and all those other things, those may help you save money. Some people already have decoration on the table. That's going to help you save money. One of the bigger things for in-person is AV. audio visual. That can really impact your bottom line. If you're using a coliseum or a large community center, that expense sometimes can be almost more than the building itself. So those things are important to you checking that out right up front, because it is a cost factor, and you want to pick a location that's going to benefit and not bust your budget, but improve your budget. So you want to look at these things that logistically are going to help you. And if it's a problem that's going to cost you more money, then you may need to change your location altogether. So keep that in mind. When you're planning a profitable event, you have to look at all these key things that are going to impact your line. Now, the other thing is that I want to go over before we close out is, who are you trying to pull into your event? Who's your audience? How old are they? I ask that question because it may seem silly, but it is important. So who are you focused on? Is it a woman? Are they women? Are they men? Are they both? Success, we initially started with all women, 100% women speakers and in attendance. We have now grown into where we have men that are speaking, because we believe that in order for a woman to be whole, you need both. And because we're international, men can tune in too. They can always buy a ticket, but they can tune in even better now. So men or women or both. The other thing is how old they are. So baby boomers, I always say they have disposable income. Millennials, not so much, right? They're going to be on a budget. So they're going to look for that budgeted ticket, as well, as I call it, the butts in the seat ticket, the ticket that gets you in the door at a lower price. So why is this important? Because baby boomers tend to be willing to buy the VIP ticket or the elite experience. And so you want to make sure that, well, if you're like Success, we're including all, but make those decisions and the pricing of your tickets based off your attendees. So it really does matter who they are, what their income is, what their age are, things that they like to do. All those things impact your bottom line. Now, we've been talking about how to create your own profitable event, whether it's in person or virtually. And I am Kearn Cherry, and you can find me pretty much on any social media site, whether it's even TikTok. You'll find me there as well. You will find me on my favorite, at least one of my favorites, LinkedIn. Love to share and connect there. Facebook, of course, you can find Kearn Cherry, Kearn Crockett Cherry, PRN Home Care. And you can join my group, K Connection, new group where we will be sharing, and you'll get some of these tips and even more at K Connection with Kearn Cherry. In addition, you can also go to my main site, CoachKearn.com, CoachKearn.com, and schedule a discovery call with me. And we can take this conversation even further. Let me be a part of helping you create your own profitable event. Again, I'm Kearn Cherry, co-founder and director of Success Women's Conference. You can find me anywhere on social media. Thank you.